everybody, my name is Natalie, and before we start, I just want to play a little game with everybody in the audience. So, we've got a brief game of spot the difference. So I want you to have a good look at these three individuals, and I want you to think in your mind what differences you can see. Okay, does anyone want to shout any out?
Age.
Age?
Gender.
Someone's a celebrity?
Gender.
Gender?
Ideology.
Okay, there's a lot of differences. I think we've got a lot. So, can anyone think of any similarities between these people?
Why?
They're all people! They're all people! Apart from the fact they are all human beings.
Why is middle-aged?
Oh,
Smiling.
they're all smiling, they're all happy. And so there are a few similarities, but actually the main similarity that I'm going to talk about today is actually their experience of healthcare. Now, apart from the one in the middle, I actually know the other two quite well. So I'm going to tell you just a few little stories about all of these people so you can see the common thread that they have within healthcare. So this young lady on the right is actually a close friend of mine called Lydia, and she has given me permission today to talk about her and her experience in healthcare. Now, Lydia suffers from a rare autoimmune condition called lupus. Now, it actually took Lydia 10 years to get this diagnosis. And when I talked to her about why it took 10 years to get this diagnosis, she talked about the fact that she went from professional, to doctor, to psychologist, to MRI scan, to X-ray, to blood test. But no one seemed to be able to access her one true health record. She seemed to tell different parts of her story to different professionals, and she thinks the lack of communication between health professionals is one of the main reasons why it took 10 years to diagnose her with her condition. I mean, even today, I spoke to her a few months ago, and she tells me she sees on average between 5 and 15 different health professionals per month, and still, she retells her story. Second chap in the middle, I think we all maybe recognise him. Sir Richard Hammond, yeah? Okay, this goes down well here, not so well in other countries. So, did anyone read in the papers at all about when Sir Richard Hammond tried to break the world record for going faster than the speed of sound? The first time, I think, he did it anyway. He was hospitalised for, I think it was about 3 days, maybe a couple of weeks. And the press got hold of a lot of information. And people started questioning why and how. And then when they looked back at the number of people that accessed Sir Richard Hammond's records, they realised there was hundreds of medical professionals that were able to log into the central system, simply search his name, and look at his records. In fact, I don't know if this was read in the newspaper recently, but there were 2 nurses that were struck off for looking at Ed Sheeran's records without treating him.
Mike?
Sorry, is it on?
Yep.
No, we can't hear you.
Testing? No?
No.
Don't know if it ran out of battery, maybe. That's fine, I can project, okay. Right, so actually, the gentleman on the left, now that's actually a very, very dear relative of mine, that's actually my grandfather. He is 89 years old, and I have to say he's an absolute legend. That's him at Christmas with the little Santas on his head. And people often ask me how I got into Medicalchain. I was a physio before I started this, so I always worked in the medical profession, but it was this chap, it was his story that really got me into what Medicalchain was doing. So a few years ago, my grandfather went on holiday, and like all of us, we got travel insurance. Travel insurance covers you for up to a certain amount of money if anything was to happen when you were abroad. Now, unfortunately, my grandfather had a heart attack whilst he was abroad. And he was rushed in and had surgery, and he was absolutely fine. So this wasn't the shocking thing. What was the shocking thing was 2 days before he was due to fly back, my mother received a phone call. And it was the insurance company. And they said, "We're very sorry, but we have found an abnormal heart reading on your father's medical records, which means we are not sure he will be covered for all of his medical bills, and we're not sure if we will be able to fly him back from the USA, the Caribbean, back into the UK." So of course my family were completely devastated. But my grandfather knew nothing of this heart condition. He'd never been told by his doctor. He'd never been told by anybody. In the end, we found out that the heart reading was only very slightly above what was classed as normal. And with my mum doing lots of research and finally getting access to the records and putting that in front of the insurers, she was able to prove that he did not lie when getting his travel insurance. But how many of you can honestly say that you know everything that is written on your healthcare records? Hands up who even has access to their healthcare records. So how many of you, when you're getting life insurance, travel insurance, even car insurance, or depending on how many questions they ask you, how many of you can honestly say that you are not accidentally committing fraud? So it was this that really drove me into what Medicalchain would do. So imagine you could have your healthcare records with you and take them with you. And you could choose to share them with whoever you want to, whether it be your doctor, whether it be your health insurance, whether it be your life insurance. And imagine you could actually access healthcare applications and have your health records integrated into those applications. Well, that's what we're doing at Medicalchain. So, at Medicalchain, we're using blockchain technology and we're using the hybrid. So we're using the Ethereum blockchain and we're also using Hyperledger Fabric to ensure that people's records are kept private and they're able to share them using time-permissioned access sharing using the Fabric. So if anyone wants to talk about the tech in detail, please come and chat to me afterwards. We are storing all of our records in data-compliant storage systems, so our nodes will be scattered internationally, which means that all of the records will be kept in areas that are compliant with healthcare record storage. We're using a concept called OpenEHR, which is a standard which is going to be used internationally, and we're looking at partnership with people who are using OpenEHR. So we have the blockchain layer, which will pull the health records and ensure that they are accessible to people. So no longer are they going to be siloed in lots of different organizations, but you're going to have control over your healthcare records, which you'll be able to see on your mobile phone. We then have the service application layer, which is an open API, which we are developing on and also other developers can develop on, to provide telehealth services, maybe some insurer integration once we're working with these guys, and also a health data marketplace. Within the health data marketplace, you'll be able to use your healthcare records as your own asset. And you'll be able to give your anonymized health records to insurers, research institutes, or anyone else that would like to compensate you for sharing your health records. And the final thing that we're doing at the minute is I'd like to announce to you today that we are actually running our first live pilot, which goes live on the 23rd of July, in collaboration with the Groves Medical Group and the Groves Practice GP Group. So they are 4 GP practices across West London. They have 30,000 registered NHS patients, and we are trying this system with the GPs, with the patients, working with them to design a better future for healthcare. Thank you.
Anyone got any questions for my new sister Natalie? There must be one. Okay, yeah. Please, just say it and I'll shout it out.
My main question is, are you planning to do it only in UK or as a blockchain globally?
Yes.
So I will repeat the question. So the question is, are you planning to do it only in UK or globally as well?
Okay, so we are an international company, but we believe that piloting in the UK is a very good place to start with adoption. If we can prove that it works even slightly here, working into some other countries that have quite poor infrastructure, they'd like us to just even create that infrastructure for them. We have the use case and the evidence here, and then we can start expanding across other countries.
All right, there's one more question up here.
So
Okay, so the summary of the question is why Hyperledger, why not Ethereum or another public blockchain?
I suppose the question to everybody is, do you want to be able to choose who sees your healthcare records? Or do you want the whole world to have access to your healthcare records?
It's encrypted, right?
Yeah, but in terms of as well looking at things like transactions and storage and energy use, we actually want to store healthcare records off of the blockchain because in terms of the complexity of some of the files, We don't want to be storing anyone's health records on the blockchain. We are an off-chain solution. So Fabric allows us to do that. Also, it gives the granularity as well. So when our developers, and I'm not a techie, so I might not be the best person to answer these questions, but because of the granularity of Hyperledger Fabric, you can choose how much information you want to share with which person. So say, for example, your employer asks to see your healthcare records, and you're like, yes, I can share them with you. But maybe you choose not to share all of them, and that should be within your right. And particularly with GDPR and everything like that, we want to make sure people have the choice of how much they share as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Natalie. It's a very, very deep topic again, lots to discuss. Please, big round of applause.